Wow, this is super cool. But I still want this one. Welcome to Theories About Things, where I pitch my theories on why some things are the way they are. If you read the caption to this video closely, you'll notice it says, "My theory on why EVs failed." Not failing, not will fail, but failed in the past tense, as in, it's already happened. In my opinion, if customers are given the choice in a free market, meaning the government doesn't lose its mind and mandate what you can buy, customers will still continue to choose cars with internal combustion engines in the United States. Many people are bearish on the electric vehicle market. That's not new, but it's usually for the well-known faults of electric vehicles, like the long charging times and how expensive they are, and the sparse charging network. My theory on why EVs failed in the United States is because the ecosystem around them attacked the morals of potential customers, and that turned many people off for good. For that matter, not only were the morals of potential customers attacked, but more specifically, the morals of potential customers who would have actually been the most suitable EV owners were attacked, which I'll get to later in the video. We've all heard the narratives associated with buying EVs. You're saving the planet. You care about the environment. You're one with nature. In reality, we know none of this is true. There's more than enough compelling research to at least entertain the assertion that electric vehicles are at least as polluting as internal combustion engine vehicles when factoring in the total package of manufacturing the vehicle, operating it, and mining for the materials that go into making the battery. Not to mention the other unsavory aspects of EV production. No matter which conclusion you arrive at once you do your research, you should be able to at least admit that the marketing strategy of attacking the morals of potential customers is a head-scratching one at best. On the one hand, it's meant to appeal to your emotions and make you feel good inside about doing the right thing, which again, is very debatable. But in the same breath, it's calling the overwhelming majority of people bad people for allegedly destroying the planet. And then those people are expected to turn around and one day have a positive sentiment about electric vehicles. That just makes no sense. I mentioned a few times that the ecosystem around electric vehicles is responsible for this tactic. What I mean by that is the conglomerate of the media and the government that really seem to be putting their weight behind EVs, and then the cliquey fandom that eventually followed. I actually feel that the EV manufacturers themselves, to their credit, least participate in this strategy. I assume that they just want to make and sell cars and make money like most other companies. Those that do employ this strategy of attacking the morals of potential customers do so partly through the use of deceptive language. This is actually the second time in my videos that I'm bringing up this concept of the use of deceptive language in an effort to sell us something because it's more common than we realize. I also talk about it in my other video here. The numbers on this video show that it was a controversial one, which is news to me because I didn't find it controversial at all. I'll leave the link to it in the description below. You can watch it after this one and let me know if you agree or not. But pertaining to EVs, in an effort to appeal to your emotions and make you feel like you're doing something good, terms like green, clean, and energy efficient get attached to EVs, and they're used interchangeably like they mean the same thing. Which they don't, and only one of these terms even applies to EVs. But you're not supposed to pay attention to the actual meanings of these terms because the meanings of them aren't why they're used. The actual purpose of them is to get you to feel a certain emotion. Green means something is natural. It means something is closest to its natural form or natural cycle, free from anything artificial or man-made. Regenerative farming would be something that we could correctly label as green. Obviously, the term green has nothing to do with EVs. Anyone calling an electric vehicle green is teaching a course called Manipulation 101. Clean is a little trickier, but not by much. Clean means something doesn't produce emissions. This incorrectly gets attributed to EVs. EVs don't have exhaust pipes sticking out of the back of the car, so the visual of an EV subconsciously plants the idea into your head that there aren't any emissions associated with the car. Obviously, this isn't true. There are plenty of emissions associated with the production of the car, the mining, production, and transportation of the minerals to make the batteries, and yes, even the operation of the car. The electricity that's used to power the car still comes from sources that produce emissions, such as fossil fuels. You might not see smoke coming out of the back of an EV, but that's because it's coming out of a smokestack of a power plant on the outskirts of town. It's out of sight, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Then there's the term energy efficient. Energy efficient means something uses as much of its energy input as possible to do the task that it was intended to do, therefore wasting as little as possible. This one accurately describes EVs. EVs are far more energy efficient than internal combustion engine vehicles. EVs use energy for the purpose of driving, but when they're not in motion, they don't consume much energy. That would accurately be described as energy efficient. Internal combustion engine vehicles require fuel burning just to have the car's engine on and operational, even if it's not in motion. If you drive an internal combustion engine vehicle, when you turn the vehicle on or when you're at a stoplight, you'll see that your car's tachometer still registers around 1,000 RPMs even though you're not in motion. That still requires fuel consumption. However, the term energy efficient is even a little tricky still. It shouldn't be confused with the term energy intensive, which means requiring a lot of total energy. EVs on average are way heavier than internal combustion engine vehicles of a similar size. Here's a weight comparison of two vehicles with similar dimensions. One's an EV and one's an internal combustion engine vehicle. Here's another one.
Oh my God!
And another one.
What the hell you say?
Clearly, EVs are way heavier for a nearly identical amount of car compared to their internal combustion engine counterparts. The total amount of energy required to move something that much heavier is a completely different conversation than something being energy efficient. Even if something uses its energy efficiently, it could very well still require a lot of gross energy just based on its size alone. All of this is to say that a lot, and I mean a lot of effort was clearly put into selling the public on EVs. Every tactic imaginable was deployed in order to manipulate your emotions and convince you that you're a good person if you buy an EV and you're a bad person if you don't, which is why the EV segment is struggling the way it is right now. However, it's really a shame because if EVs stood on their own merits from the start and competed like any other product, they might have had more success. I would never buy an EV if it's under my control, as I'm not hugely into electronics and I like things as mechanical as possible, but even I can admit that EVs have many positive qualities that would be enticing to a consumer. Obviously, most people know that they're extremely quick. A family EV these days can get to 60 miles per hour quicker than exotic cars from a decade ago. They're technologically advanced and have tons of features. Since EVs don't have an engine up front, the cabins are able to be stretched out and they're able to have roomier cabins compared to internal combustion engine vehicles with similar dimensions. Speaking of the cabin, an often overlooked benefit in an EV is that there's more legroom for the rear middle seat passenger since there's no hump there, since there's no need for mechanical parts down there. There are so many qualities that EVs could have advertised about themselves in order to attract customers in a direct competition with internal combustion engine vehicles. They could have just said, hey, this is what your gas car does, but we do things way better, and they would have made some noise. But instead, they went the route, or rather, the route was chosen for them, where the morals of potential customers were attacked, and to no one's surprise, that turned people off. And that's even more of a shame because the people who could have benefited the most from the features of EVs are the ones who've been turned off the most. To me, the ideal customer for an electric vehicle is someone who lives in the suburbs outside of a major city. They have a house with a garage and the space to charge the EV. They commute a half an hour to an hour back and forth every day to work, and they can come home and charge their EV in the comfort of their garage and never have to see a gas station, and they don't have to worry about where charging stations are. However, these are the people that would now least want to buy EVs because their morals were questioned in the process of trying to sell them a car. The people who would most want EVs are people who live in cities, but they would be the ones to benefit from EVs the least. Cities are densely populated. People tend to live in apartments in cities, so it removes the benefit of being able to charge an EV in the convenience of your garage. Cities also heavily favor public transportation and are least accommodating in design to car ownership in general. But the people who live in cities happen to be the people who see EVs most favorably. Now the EV segment is left wondering what could have been. Like I mentioned, I personally think it's already game over for EVs in a free market in the United States. Everyone who wanted one has one, and everyone else who doesn't want one isn't going to be morally bullied into wanting one. When the media reports on EV sales, they stress growth to paint this imaginary picture that EVs are in a better position than they actually are. Mathematically, growth is more robust when sales are smaller overall. If you're selling cookies and you sold 10 cookies last year and 20 cookies this year, you sold 10 extra cookies this year and grew 100%. However, if you sold 1,000 cookies last year and sold 1,010 cookies this year, you still sold the same extra 10 cookies this year, but only grew 1%. That's the situation EVs are in right now. Relatively speaking, EVs are so few of the cars sold overall that their growth numbers will naturally seem impressive. But despite being widely available for years now, and every major automaker offering at least one EV, EVs still make up a very small percentage of the overall car market. Car rental companies have felt the pain too, as people don't even want to rent them. Many automakers have already decommitted from their lofty future EV goals for the simple fact that no one wants them. The curtains are coming down and the credits are gonna start to roll. When the big flat screen televisions that we all have in our homes now first became available, TV manufacturers didn't try to sell them to us by saying you'll save the planet if you buy this 50-inch LED, but if you don't buy one, you basically don't care about the environment. Instead, they basically said, here's our new product and it's better in every way. It's bigger, lighter, and paper thin. It's not a giant box in the middle of your home like your old TV. It looks good and you can hang it on your wall. And within a few years, we all had one in our homes. EVs looked at that and said, you know what? That looks like it could work, but we're gonna attack your morals instead. And here we are now. But what do you guys think? Are EVs done and dusted, or are you watching this video in your Tesla right now? Either way, remember to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Also remember to follow me on X and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.